Abavunaanibwa musango guno ye Patrick Kasaija, Abasi Buvumbo, Yusuf Lubega, Hussein Waswa, Muzamiru Sali, Hassan Katomiro, Hajara Nakandi, Abubeka Chewolya, Mahadi Kasaliita ne Ismail Bukenya. 10 mu kkooti bavunaanibwa musango gw'okuwamba n'okutta Suzan Magara nga bino byaliwo ng'ennaku z'omwezi 7 omwezi ogwokubiri omwaka gwa 2018 n'ekigendererwa eky'okubawa ensimbi. Ng'omusango guno guzzeemu okuwulirizibwa mu kkooti enkulu ewozesa emisango gya Naggomola mu Kampala. Oludda oluwaabi nga lukulembeddwamu Irene Nakimbugwe lutegeezezza kkooti nga woofiisi ya Ssaabaabi wa gavumenti bw'ajja emisango gyonna ku Patrick Kasaija, omuvunaanibwa omukulu mu musango guno.
However, prosecution will not be in position to proceed today. Due to the logistics that were mentioned earlier in the last hearing, but they've been ironed out. Among which your worship is to increase on the number of lawyers to represent the accused persons. That is been increased to 5. And also to increase on the number of assessors to 4 from 3. Your worship, the prosecution is going to use this week to disclose to the new lawyers that have been mentioned Yes, Your Worship, before we pray for a hearing date, we want also tender in a nolle prosecute in respect to A1 Kasaija Patrick, alias Pato, that the DPP wishes to withdraw charges of kidnapping with the intent to procure a ransom and murder against A1. I pray to tender in the said nolle prosecute. Further, Your Worship, I pray to tender in the amended indictment in respect to the remaining accused persons.
Patrick Kasaija amanyiddwa nga Pato oluvannyuma lw'ebyali bigambibwa nti yeenyigira mu kuwamba n'okutta Suzan Magara ng'one mu biseera ebyo yali mu ggwanga lya South Africa. Kino kyawaliriza ebitongole ebikuuma ddembe nga biri wamu n'eggwanga lya South Africa okumuzza okwaboobe nga teyeesiikidde kanyeebwa. Wabula okusinziira ku nsonda zaffe ezitali zimu kigambibwa nti Patrick Kasaija oluvannyuma lw'okuggyibwa mu ggwanga lya South Africa teyaggulwako musango gwonna gukwatagana na kutta Suzan Magara. Wabula mu 2019 mu kkooti y'eddala erisookerwako ey'e Makindye ono yaggulwako omusango gw'okuwamba Alupo Joan n'ekigendererwa eky'okufuna ensimbi okuva mu booluganda lwe wadde ng'ono kkooti yamutaka kalo ka kkooti mu mwezi ogw'omusanvu omwaka gwa 2019. Oludda olulayi mu kkooti era lutegeezezza nga ku bbalaza ya Ssabbiiti ejja bwe lugenda okutandika okuleeta abajulizi mu musango guno.
Further, Your Worship, I pray to tender in the amended indictment in respect to the remaining accused persons. Your Worship, the prosecution is going to use this week to disclose to the new lawyers that have been mentioned.
Kkooti etaddewo olwanga 23 omwezi ogw'okumi omwaka guno okuddamu okugenda mu maaso n'omusango guno. Suzan Magara yawambibwa n'okuttibwa ku luguudo lwa Masanjala olwa Southern Bypass ekigwa mu disitulikiti y'e Wakiso. Ku Lwokutaano lwa Ssabbiiti ewedde kkooti ensukkulumu ng'ekubirizibwa Ssaabalamuzi Alfonso Owiny-Dollo, omulamuzi Faith Monda, Tebatemwa Ekirikubinza, Pasen Night Tuhayise n'omulamuzi Mike Kibita bawa ensala mu musango ogwawo ba Jimmy Okena, pulezidenti w'ekibiina kya Uganda People's Congress UPC. Munaakene yali yasaba kkooti eno esazeemu ebiragiro ebyayisibwa kkooti ejulirwamu omwali okuyimiriza Ttabamiruka w'ekibiina eyatuuzibwanga ennaku z'omwezi lumu omwezi ogw'omunaana omwaka gwa 2020 omwalina okuyimiriza ekiragiro eky'okubagaana okukozesa akawunta z'ekibiina kono okubakkiriza okuwaaba omusango guno mu kkooti eno nga tebasoose kusaba lukusa okuva mu kkooti ejulirwamu. Wabula mu nsala abalamuzi bano baagobye okusaba kwa Jimakena bwe bategeezezza nti ensonga ezaaleetebwa mu kkooti eno zaali zaasalibwawo dda mu kkooti ejulirwamu nga tewali bwetaavu bwa kukola nsala ndala. Bano era bagoba n'ekyokuwuliriza ensonga za Kena mu kkooti eno nga tasoose kufuna lukusa okuva mu kkooti ejulirwamu kye baagambye nti kwali kumenya mateeka. Wadde nga guli gutyo mu nsala eyayisibwa kkooti ejulirwamu ng'ennaku z'omwezi mu 7 omwezi ogw'omwenda omwaka gwa 2020 eno yakkaatiriza ekyasalibwawo kkooti enkulu okujja Jimakena ku kifo kya pulezidenti w'ekibiina kya UPC olw'ensonga nti yali yalondebwa mu kalulu akati agoberera mateeka.
The ruling came, I applied to the higher court for a stay of execution. That was granted. I stayed in office on the orders for a higher court. Even when we were going for the delegates conference, it is one of the issues I've put in my statement here. They sought 3 orders. 1, that I am to vacate office. 2, that the delegates conference does not take place. And 3, that the accounts be blocked. The one where I'm supposed to vacate office was not granted. Meaning that every action I took, every letter or any action I took as president remained valid.
Ensala eno yakolebwa abalamuzi b'ekkooti ejulirwamu okwali Irene Mulyagonja, Christopher Madrama n'omulamuzi Elizabeth Musoke. Wabula Kena agamba nti ensala eyakolebwa kkooti ejulirwamu yajja kikeerezi olw'ensonga nti baali baamaliriza dda okutuuza Ttabamiruka w'ekibiina nga yeesigama ku nsonga za kkooti zombi. Pulezidenti w'ekibiina kya UPC Jimakena agamba nti tewali kiragiro kyayisiddwa kkooti nga kimulagira okuva ku kifo kya pulezidenti w'ekibiina kino.
Show me where it says vacate. I've not seen it. The 2015-2020 period, I vacated. Those who were in Kasangati, I vacated the office. Handed it back to the delegates. I effectively resigned in front of the delegates because the power was with the delegates. That was 2020. So you want me to vacate what, where, how? And for whom? For those who have never been elected? Yes, sir. The orders issued on 29th July 2020, don't hold delegates conference, don't use party accounts. Full stop. It did not deal with any other matter except that one. The rest of it is the context under which it was delivered, but it was dealing with those 2 issues. Whether, one, we could go to the Supreme Court directly. And I read the paragraph which says, yes, in the circumstances, at that time, yes.
Ono agamba nti olw'okubanga kkooti enkulu yagoba okusaba kwa Profesa Edward Kakonge okumuyimiriza okubeera pulezidenti w'ekibiina kya UPC tewali kikyamu kye yakolanga pulezidenti w'ekibiina.
Show me where it says vacate. I've not seen it. The 2015-2020 period, I vacated. Those who were in Kasangati, I vacated the office. Handed it back to the delegates. I effectively resigned in front of the delegates because the power was with the delegates. That was 2020. So you want me to vacate what, where, how? And for whom? For those who have never been elected? Yes, sir.
Ono alambula n'ensonga eyabaleetera okugenda mu maaso n'okutuuza Ttabamiruka w'ekibiina wadde nga kkooti ejulirwamu yali yamuyimiriza.
Now, 2020, we had our delegates conference. The ruling came 1 month after. There was a challenge, the one of contempt of court. It has been dismissed in the Court of Appeal. So what do you people want me to do? Right now, you're trying to deal with something of the last term. So if there's a ruling tomorrow on what took place in the 10th Parliament, how are you going to effect it? Yeah, but how do you effect it? That's why things are said overtaken by events. We are now in the 11th Parliament. We are not in the 10th Parliament. We are in the 11th Parliament. And our elections as UPC must rhyme with the national elections. Why are people always trying to be out of sync? I hear somebody saying they were elected in a delegates conference in December of 2020. Honestly, I will challenge any journalist here, and I'll even pay. Bring me video of a UPC delegates conference in December of 2020, I'll pay 10 million cash. On NBS, when you talk about political things, I always see that picture of us at our delegates conference. Live human beings, dressed in the party color, singing party songs. What happened? Where was this delegates conference of 2020? Did anyone see it? Did anyone attend? Those are figments of people's imagination. I live in the real world. But when they're given the ruling Friday 13th, 2023, we don't have an election. We had the election. Now, I brought in the aspect of the delegates conference took place. I was taken to court for contempt. Court of Appeal dismissed that case. So what do you want me to do? Somebody wants me to resign. I don't. Within 6 months to elect a new president. Boss assumed office 1 year, 2 years, 2.5 years, he appoints a vice president. At that time he was sick, he passes away. That vice president takes over office, 6 months lapse, no election. There's been no delegates conference called. What do you do? Now we're having this situation that if a president does not call an election, you sit and wait. Are we not promoting dictatorship? If suddenly they say no, elections are too expensive, let's stop elections in Uganda, do we just sit? What do you do? I might have made mistakes in doing what I had to do, but I had to do something. Delegates conferences were not called. In the whole presidency of Laotuno, there was never one delegates conference. Me, who is faulted, I have held. Pictures are there. People have seen. Cameras were there. But I am guilty. But I'm guilty of trying to promote UPC. But honestly, what do you do? This is what the Constitution says.
Akena wabula asekeredde ekiwayi ekimulwana.
That's why I said at some point we did have factions. Because the other faction had one member of parliament. Today, 0. District chairman, 0. District councillors, 0. Municipal mayors, 0. So who am I talking to? Yes, there are thousands of members, there are millions of members. Why are these members trying to hold the party hostage? Let them go out, get a constituency, we sit down and we talk. I've never denied anyone a flag. Whoever of the other faction, even people I pleaded with, take the party flag, go for the election. If you're elected, there's no way I'll ignore you. But prove your worth, go to the electorate. I always engage, my door remains open. But I'm asking them, prove your worth. Who did not know that's what I'm saying, who did not know 2021 election was coming? What happened? Were you not ready? Did you not know? The whole country knew 2021 election was coming. After election or before election, you start running around, create chaos. Then a lot of the time they go quiet. Now the heating up of 2026 is coming, people are springing up from the woodworks. Are they going to go to the electorate? Are they going to carry the party flag? I doubt it. I pray with them that they go and meet the electorate, carry the party flag, but I seriously doubt it. That does not mean I will not talk to them. I will always talk. Yes. I agree. FDC has factions because both factions have ground. Both factions have ground. And it will damage their prospects because both factions have ground. Many of the people who are talking in UPC, I can tell you honestly, they can be ignored and it will have no effect on the ground. That's the honest truth. If you want me to break down individuals, I can break down, I can give you quotes of where they stood, when they last stood. Example, Professor Kakonge. I think the man is 90 plus. Has only stood in one general election. No, it wasn't even a general election. It was when they were expanding the NRC. And as a minister in the NRM government, he went and stood. That is the last time Kakonge has stood in any election. Last. That is what, 89, 90? How many years ago was that? He has never stood in an election. Name them, I'll give you their background. I respect everybody who goes out, faces the electorate. Even where it does not work out, I have a lot of respect for people who actually participate in elections. It's not easy. And therefore, any leader who is elected at any level has my utmost respect. I will never ignore, I will listen to, and I'll do everything to support them in their election. But people who sit around and just cook up things,
Ono ng'asinziira mu lukuŋŋaana lwa bannamawulire mu Kampala, asabye bannakibiina okubeera abagumu wakati mu kwetegekera okulonda kw'omwaka gwa 2026.
The big issue here is to deal with judicial review. I am not a lawyer, but over this period of time I've learned one or two things about law. Perhaps I can either follow Male Mabilizi's way of pursuing some of these issues, or this Kenyan who has won 26 cases without stepping into a law school. But judicial review, when it does not look at the merits, if I was given opportunity, the one case I would love to pursue is this issue of going to the bush. If we put going to the bush under judicial review, where you cannot give your reasons as to why you went to the bush, you will be found guilty. Every life you took, you are guilty. Every action you took against the sitting government, you are guilty. Every opportunity where you did not exercise the ability of the court, you are guilty. Let me try and take that to judicial review. That's the great thing about judicial review. I wake up in the middle of the night, I find somebody has broken into my home, my child is at danger, I will pounce on that person. If I take that life under judicial review, I am guilty. Under a normal process, they can look at extenuating circumstance. It can be involuntary manslaughter. There are different ways where they can look at it, but not under judicial review. So, you want to pursue this one? Maybe one day, one time, we may have to look at going to the bush and put it under judicial review. And I would love to see what the justices come up with. That would be one. And I hope this, what was the phrase which they used during the Mama Mbabazi case? These ones who were friends of the court. Something Curie. Amicus Curie, yes. I would love to see prominent lawyers in Uganda take up this issue. Let us put this issue of going to the bush under judicial review. That outcome will be very informative and maybe will guide future generations. Maybe that's not a path to follow. And that one I'll support 110%. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
Okusinziira ku mateeka agafuga ekibiina kya UPC oluvannyuma lwa Jimmy Akene okulondebwa nga pulezidenti w'ekibiina kino mu mwaka gwa 2020 Mutamiruke yatuuzibwanga ennaku z'omwezi lumu omwezi ogw'omunana omwaka gwa 2020 wakutwala ekisanja kino mu maaso okutuusa mu mwaka gwa 2025.